You talked about the Bill Farrell, and before the shows, I think it was before the shows, you were talking about Bo Bassett, just kind of what impressed you about Bo and how he wrestled this weekend.
This is a personal statement. No one's even going to know about this but me, but I do know it and I do feel it, and I owe Bo an apology. I have been very hard on Bo. Now, I've been hard on Bo because I'm a fan. I have to have guys that I don't like. I have to be able to cheer and I have to be able to boo. It's what a fan is. But Bo bothered me when he decommitted to Iowa. It bothers me when anybody decommits anywhere. I feel like you're going back on your word. I also came from a time when a letter of intent and it carried a little bit more weight, so maybe I got a little old school. But I got to take it back, man. This Bo Bassett has won me over. The number one thing that is annoying for me is our good wrestlers don't want to wrestle. Our really good wrestlers don't wrestle. I mean, when we go look at our world team guys, we get them in 3 events a year, one of which is the trials and one of which is the world. We then get them in something else, and that's generally it. You get a guy like Bo Bassett, and Bo Bassett, by the way, started to win me. I had to start to look at this guy a little differently in Fargo. I loved that he entered Fargo. I love that he was out there supporting Jax, but I love that he jumped in the tournament himself. You know, that was the first real sign of, hey, this guy's a wrestler. I don't like, it bothers me when age group guys don't go to the age groups. We got to know who the best guy in the nation is. And if it's you got to enter the tournament. So I appreciated that. But now I'm just coming to this year. You know, he wrestled last weekend and then in collegiate, and then all of a sudden he jumps into a freestyle event, which was not easy. He runs into a former U.S. Open finalist. He runs into an NCAA finalist. Of course, I'm talking about Bo Bartlett. Mm-hmm. And goes right through him. He puts the points up. He attacks him. I used to think that Bo was a little bit of a bully. I didn't love the Super 32s where he's taking a guy down and letting him go and putting 20 points on the board. I didn't love that. I think if you can kick a guy's ass, go kick his ass. However, my notion that he's a bully goes away when he's willing to do the same thing to Bo Bartlett that he's willing to do to a sophomore that got into the Super 32. So I take it back. I had it wrong on Bo. He seems like a wonderful kid. I owe Bo an apology, and there it is.
There it is. Yeah, pretty impressive performance. If you recall, at the World Team Trials, he beat Bo Bartlett 1-0. And then here, the level of separation was noticeable, winning by tech over someone with those kind
Christian,
of Christian,
don't you agree that that's amazing, considering Bo Bartlett said goodbye to collegiate and is fully focused on freestyle? You got Bo Bassett wrestled collegiate last week in Virginia. Yeah. So I always find that amazing. You know, when Kyle Snyder was doing it at 2 weight classes in 2 different styles his senior year when he's got to go with Gwiz up at, 285, and he's wrestling, at the Eureka at 97 kilograms in a different style. That's an incredible thing to do. What's going to happen when Bo actually focuses? What's going to happen in 28 and 2032 when he's locked in? It's a really incredible thing. I called this, by the way. You might not give me any credit. I told everybody Virginia Tech was a player, and people were saying it was between Rutgers and Nebraska. And I really did think that Rutgers and Nebraska were, but I would then tell people, hey, I'm hearing it's Virginia Tech. I'm hearing it's Virginia Tech. And that got dismissed, and it ends up being Virginia Tech. And man, this is how it starts. These dominoes start to fall. You go get 1 killer or 2 killers, turns into 3 and 4 and 5, as you know. Those guys are like magnets, and they attract things. This is huge news for Virginia. It's huge news for wrestling, in my opinion.
Totally agree. Yeah, absolutely. And they got Melvin Miller as well, who
awesome. He might be the best athlete. As far as an athlete, he might be the best athlete in high school sport right now.
He's fantastic. I think, the debate is like, which one of these guys is actually going to be better, because they're both so elite. And, Melvin's, he's also winning. He beat Brandon Cannon last week, had a solid showing at the Bill Farrell. Yeah, who knows how good he's going to be. But yeah,
how did he end up at the Farrell? How did he end up? I didn't realize he was there. Someone took him out.
Yeah, he lost to Ian Parker, who's beaten a lot of
tough SOB.
Yeah, Parker's tough. I think he beat some guys.
Melvin had a close match with Caleb Henson, 8-6.
8-6 with Henson.
Yeah, he lost.
And then Tyler Kasak wound up winning, which it kind of signals Kasak to redshirt PJ going right off the rip for Penn State at 157. Your thoughts on PJ Duke?
Before we move on to the PJ Duke question for you, Chael, is there any concern about maybe the miles Bo and Melvin are putting on their body at such a young age, just competing the amount of times they do compete and the amount they wrestle, that it won't hold up until they get to, like, it won't hold up for a whole college career potentially?
I see it that same way, and nobody knows that. Nobody understands. You do when it's all done. You look back, but I'll just. It's a gun, and you've only got so many bullets, and you don't know how many are in that chamber. You just don't know. And what one day, more than anything, the number one thing that retires guys is the weight cut. The number one thing is guys don't want to make the weight anymore. They don't want to live that lifestyle that it takes to beat the scale. Nobody ever talks about it. It is the number one reason guys retire. And then to use Bo specifically, because 145.5 pounds historically has the number one knee injuries in the country. Or in the world rather. And for whatever that reason is, but those guys hurt their knees more time. And every time Bo wrestles, I do think about that. How many more shots can that knee do? How many more limp legs can that knee do? And I just share that with you that, yeah, there's a lot of things that can happen. That's before a guy discovers beer and gets a girlfriend. I mean, like there's things that happen when you gotta get off into college, and he does do a lot of matches. Yes, I think that I think the net positive is probably there, but I think that that's a very legitimate concern,
because I feel like we see more injuries now in college sports as a whole, not just wrestling, than we did 20 years ago when guys were getting twice as many matches in a season. And my only thought for that reason is athletes are getting bigger, faster, stronger, and probably more likely they're putting more miles on their body as a youth wrestler and a high school wrestler. I don't know. It's a complete hypothesis, so I don't know that to be true, but it is strange.
Well, I have that same thought. I know that's for sure a phenomenon. I mean, because I've noticed that same thing as you have. And then when you stay busy, it's kind of like an accumulation. Yeah, my shoulder's kind of hurting. Yeah, I got a tournament next week. Let's just push through it. And then now it's really kind of starting to bother me. Well, but the trials are in a week. I got to go to practice on Monday. I don't quite have time to deal with it. And that's how those little nagging, those little things actually turn into an injury. So yeah, man, rest is very important. Our leadership in wrestling never really got credit for it, but after Fargo, there's about a 7 to 9 week break in the calendar. That break isn't just there because coaches are tired and don't want to go to the room. Like we've got to do that with athletes, particularly young ones. We got to keep them out of the room, let their bodies recover. All right, let's start this whole miserable process over again. we got to have them some breaks in there.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
No doubt about it. Okay. Kasich won the Farrell. PJ Duke,